Why is product compliance important? Selling non-compliant products is a risky game. It can result in your products being confiscated by customs officials, and it could even lead to legal action against you or your business. Unfortunately, ignorance is not an excuse when it comes to compliance. Even if you didn't know the rules or didn't intend to break them, you can still be held accountable for your actions. That's why we brought in our expert chemist and compliance manager Nadine to explain the crucial topic in simple terms. She'll break down everything you need to know about compliance so you can avoid costly mistakes and keep your business on the right track. So sit back, relax, and get ready to learn from the best. Enjoy the video.
Product compliance is a many-headed beast, trust me, I know. So I'd like to ease you into it and start with an introduction to product compliance and why it is so important if you're a manufacturer or a distributor. So, what is compliance essentially? Imagine a situation where you have a product, it is patented, and you have a large factory which can produce a large amount of the product. You also have your compliance certifications for the country your factory is in. You start building a global sales team and get almost $1 billion in signed agreements, purchase orders, and letters of intent with distributors around the world. And then, all hell breaks loose. You can't export the products into the different countries, you can't sell them in stores worldwide, you get negative press because a distributor tries to sell a product which doesn't have the local certifications. And you start hustling with compliance, and on the way, you are losing lots of deals as big distributors are getting tired of waiting. Can you guess why hell broke loose? That's right. The products weren't compliant with the regulations in those other countries. So the best way to think of compliance is as a set of hurdles, a different set for each country in the world. Let me give you an overview of those hurdles. Compliance means that your product can be legally imported and sold in a territory. If your product is not compliant, then the shipment could be stopped at customs, a penalty charged, and the goods destroyed or returned. Compliance means having evidence for your market claims based on the laws of each territory. For example, if you claim your product disinfects surfaces, then it needs to have the efficacy testing, which proves this. Compliance also ensures that the product is safe for transport. Non-compliance might make it more expensive in transportation, or even worse, logistics companies might refuse to even ship it. Non-compliance would mean that products will not be allowed to be sold in certain retail stores. Additionally, large enterprises would not buy your products without proof of compliance, as they want to maintain their reputation. Compliance, in many cases, also means ensuring that you can have liability insurance. Finally, without compliance and efficacy testing, news outlets could write negative articles about the products, which would of course harm your business's reputation. An interesting thing to note here is the difference between B2C and B2B shipments when it comes to compliance. A small shipment, like a single product to a single private client, might be ignored by customs, but anything from LCL, which is less container loads, to a full container would not be ignored, and products will need to be compliant. Remember this. Now that you have an idea of what you're up against as a manufacturer wanting to export your product worldwide, you're in the right mindset to understand what we do at Diatomic Digital. We are a mixture of disciplines to make global export possible by combining multilegal marketing, digital production, global sales and distribution, as well as global compliance and science that proves the claims. That's a mouthful, right? Essentially, what we offer our clients are various comprehensive packages of what is required for their product lifecycle. This being compliance, sales and marketing, and distribution. We created this course to help manufacturers and distributors successfully export their goods all over the world. We know firsthand that knowing how to achieve compliance in your own country does not mean you know how to achieve it in foreign countries. Our experience with my AirShield taught us so much about this process, and sharing this knowledge with someone like you could mean that you don't need to make the same mistakes. If you focus in this course, if you take notes and really take our guidance, you won't find yourself in the same place as our company, My AirShield, with the potential to earn millions of dollars and not reach the potential because of compliance details. Leading law firms charge large sums of money to tell manufacturers what is required from them to be compliant in a certain country. But that just leaves the manufacturer with a list of confusing admin. They're not closer to actually achieving compliance. So essentially, this is what we want our clients and you, watching this of course, to avoid. It's not great to miss opportunities, especially when you start to notice that the market believes in your product. So this course is for you if you are a manufacturer who wants to export your products to other countries, or a distributor who wants to import your products into a certain jurisdiction. This course will answer many of the questions which our clients have about product regulatory affairs. To give you some context, an example is the European Chemical Agency, known as ECHA. Their BPR guidelines are anywhere between 20 to 500 pages long. Crazy, right? And in my experience, this leaves people who are not familiar with it or who do not have the understanding of legal jargon feeling even more confused. Even though we'll try to cover as many topics as we can for this course, it's nearly impossible to touch on every regulatory requirement for all the products in the world. However, at the end of this course, you will have an understanding of the legislations and certifications. There aren't many good and free resources available out there because third-party inspection companies make money out of testing plans that they can issue for your product. An important point I want to touch on though is that from our estimate, about 80 to 90% of importers do not follow the regulations we'll be covering in this course, especially those selling on e-commerce sites. I personally think that this is because customs has too many shipments coming in and they don't really have time to check all the certifications, but also because many importers are unaware of the regulations. Some of our clients come to us and say, but we've been selling on Amazon for over 3 years now without any certifications. We don't think we really need it. But we tell them straight, you are breaking the law. Not to scare you, but one unlucky day, customs or even Amazon will come and ask them for their documentation, and they don't want to be caught in a situation where they'll be fined. There are a lot of regulations, tests, and certifications that we'll be unpacking in this course. It doesn't mean that it's a requirement to have all the certifications. Some of these could cost a lot of money, but I will show you some ways in which you can show that your product is compliant without breaking your budget. I will advise you on what is required by law, and will show you some simple declaration forms that you can apply to the law. It's important to keep in mind that even though you have these declarations, it doesn't mean that you have evidence that you have actually fulfilled the requirements. Be careful not to be in such a rush that you skip over some of the important requirements for your products. In the end, regulatory affairs is a delicate topic, and rushing the process can cost you a lot more money and time down the line. You might look at some of your competitors and realize, hey, but they don't have these certifications or tests either. But we always advise our clients not to look at what others are doing when it comes to regulations. Always make sure that you and your company are doing things by the book. Not only does this ensure that your products are safe to use, but also will save you tons of money in fines. This has the added advantage of being able to put your quality safety seals like FDA or CE on your product. This is a major sign of legitimacy. Not only will customers trust your products, but also retailers and wholesalers. They will want to buy from you because you fulfilled the regulations. Just to be clear, this course is not a guarantee for any regulations or certifications being 100% accurate. This is just a guideline on the basic requirements. The regulations are constantly changing, and it's always in your best interest to confirm all the details with the factories and third-party laboratories. There are also some suppliers who will tell you that they've never heard of ROHS or CE and FDA declarations, but if I'm being honest, run the other direction. These are the ones who don't follow the law, and in the end, you could be sitting with a truckload of products that won't pass through customs. This course will guide you and make you more confident in choosing your suppliers and hopefully prepare you and your product for safe and compliant importing. Let's move on and dive into the details.